Wow. Wow. What a crazy hour and a half in the NFL. We have breaking news, more breaking news on top of that, and an eye-opening piece of news that has changed everything. What is going on, everyone? Welcome into A to Z Philly, your number one home for Eagles coverage. Hit the like button if you enjoy this content, subscribe, and be sure to hit the bell so you don't miss any of the coverage coming up. We have a lot to get into here today as it is the tag deadline day. It is officially past 4 p.m. Eastern time, and you're not going to believe what happened. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about what the future is like for some of these Eagles free agents, and could a new king be potentially coming to town? We'll break all of it down. RB back, bringing you the latest from the Linc. Before we jump right into it, though, shout out to the sponsor here of today's show, BetMGM. Enjoy all your favorite sports like never before at BetMGM. Sign up using code ATOZPA and receive up to $1,000 back in bonus bets if you don't win your first bet. When you register with BetMGM, you'll get instant access to a variety of parlay selection features, live betting options, player props, and daily boosted odds specials. And with BetMGM at your fingertips, every play and every game matter more than ever. Find out why BetMGM is the king of sportsbooks. Sign up today with bonus code ATOZPA and get up to $1,000 back in bonus bets if you don't win your first bet. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. 21 years of age or older to wager. Pennsylvania only. New customer offer. Bonus bets expire 7 days from issuance. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. All right, man. Finally, we have some tangible news, and we just have to jump right into it. This actually just came out about 2 to 3 minutes ago. I laugh, but at the same time, things have changed, ladies and gentlemen. Everything has changed. So Daniel Jones and the New York Giants come together on an agreement. They, according to Mike Garofalo, quote, beat the clock on the franchise tag and have agreed to a long-term deal. The Giants will now franchise tag Saquon Barkley. What does this mean? Well, Daniel Jones is getting a 4-year deal worth $160 million. $40 million a year for Daniel Jones. Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord. Now, a lot of Eagle fans are already laughing at Giants fans. Look, shout out to Daniel Jones. Happy for the man. He got his money. He had a good season. He had a pretty good season. The Giants obviously overperformed. At the same time, the guys won one playoff game. He got slaughtered by the Philadelphia Eagles at the Linc. And I really can't believe it. I mean, we talked about this weeks ago. Daniel Jones's camp was talking about $48 million. The new agent that he signed, shout out to him. He should buy him a nice steak dinner tonight. My gosh, $40 million a year for Daniel Jones. Like I said a couple days ago, it's not about the quarterback anymore. It's about the timing, all about the timing, but still, $40 million for Daniel Jones. Wow. Now, although this is very funny, and I think the Giants may have just handicapped their future because it's going to be tough for them to, eventually keep guys, and especially if Jones doesn't play up to that value, et cetera, it's going to get crazy. But how does this impact the Eagles? Well, now Jalen Hurts is going to have that number bumped up. Somebody said he might have to own an entire planet by the time this contract is agreed upon. Hopefully, Howie Roseman is getting on it. Lamar Jackson signed an exclusive franchise tag today, so now he can be shopped, potentially traded for 2 firsts, or he's going to try to get his money from some team, whether it's the Ravens or not. Howie better be working around the clock. Jalen Hurts might be worth $60 million right now. I'm not even joking. 60 plus. This is nuts. This is like the Rudy Gobert trade that happened last year in the NBA offseason that threw the entire market into chaos. This is the one. Wow. But anyway, let's go on to what happened with the Philadelphia Eagles. So it was reported earlier this morning that the Eagles were expected not to use their franchise tag on any player. There were a couple options, the main one being CJ Gardner-Johnson. Shout out to EJ Smith of the Inquirer here in Philadelphia. He put out this article, which very much sums it up. But the Eagles have decided not to opt into using the franchise tag on CJ Gardner-Johnson or Javon Hargrave or anybody else. Now, what does this mean? So, the defensive tackle franchise tag number was $18.9 million. The safety number was $14.4 million because CJ Gardner-Johnson was a safety this past year. And the corner is projected at $18.1 million. That's just a calculation based on the top players at the position. And PFF projects Hargrave will get around 18 mil and multi-year deals worth 12 million for Gardner Johnson and Bradbury. Also, it was reported earlier from Mike Garofalo that obviously the Eagles have a long list of free agents, but the tag for CJ would have been 14.46 mil, in line with that. What does this mean right off the bat? This means to me that the Eagles believe they're going to keep CJ Gardner Johnson for hopefully 3, 4, 5 years, whatever it may be, for less value. Now, I know CJ had one of the best years as a safety. At one point, he was leading the league in interceptions until he got injured, and he just had a breakout year. Obviously, a fleece of a trade, Eagles acquiring him from the Saints last year for a 5th and a 6th round pick. At the end of the day, though, let's be honest with ourselves. It is his first year playing safety. Obviously the playoffs weren't that good. Obviously the Eagles defense got exposed, and, you have a long list of players to sign. Howie Roseman is a cap wizard. And to me, what this means off the bat is that I think they're going to try to sign CJ to probably a 3, 4, 5 year deal. He can now hit the market, but think about it from his point of view as well. Does CJ Gardner Johnson want to get as much money as he can, maybe a couple more $1 million potentially, going to maybe a worse team, going to maybe a team where things might not work out, right? You never know when you leave where you're comfortable, right? CJ has said he wants to be back in Philadelphia. And when you think about where he is at right now, obviously had the injury this year. Does he want to stay with a winning team, a winning formula, a team that just got to the big game and, have a lot of guaranteed money? He's not going to get nothing. He's going to get good money. But does he view himself after 1 year of transitioning to safety as the top player at the position? I don't know if you can say that. You don't even know what the Eagles are going to do. They might shift him around a little bit this year, so you never know. Could he potentially make more as a corner? Those are all questions you need to ask yourself if you're the Eagles and if you're CJ Gardner Johnson. I don't think the Eagles would not invest in a guy like him, especially after the trade last year. And it looks so good for the Eagles. I just don't think they'll pass up on him. I think he's top priority. I think they have it communicated behind the scenes, and I think that'll work out. Now, on the other hand, Javon Hargrave tweeted this out this morning, 1 week away, with the emojis. And essentially what this means to me is, well, Hargrave is gone. Hargrave is gone. He was, switching schemes coming over from Pittsburgh, not really being accustomed to playing this style of defense, and just adapting the way he did. Hargrave has had really, really good years, especially the last 2 years. Very quiet, got snubbed. We all know it. But man, Javon Hargrave has been an anchor, and what is he, 29, 30? So he's going to go get paid somewhere. And unfortunately, it just comes down to the business. Your team does good. You get far in the playoffs. You go to the big game, and you can't keep everybody. I wish the Eagles would find a way to keep Hargrave. I honestly think he'd be the better option than Fletcher Cox at this point, but he's just going to make too much money. The Eagles didn't want to tag him. It looks like Hargrave might be on the way out. Like PFF said, he's going to get a lot of money. So, somebody had to get paid. Somebody had to get paid. Now, on the other hand, the good news is that Brandon Graham looks like he's coming back to Philadelphia. According to Howard Eskin today on the radio, he says, from what I understand, Eagles and BG will work it out. We talked about this a couple days ago. I just don't see BG going anywhere. He wants to finish in Philadelphia. He's been here his whole career. He's an anchor man, and he showed he can still play with 11 sacks this past year. So Eagles are trying to make, amends here. Not amends, but, just amends with the entire situation. You know what I mean? Just trying to bring together as much as they can, because they know with how good they did, they're going to end up losing some pieces. It happens every single year. Fletcher Cox, is he going to stay? Let me know what you think. I don't know. I mean, Fletch was supposed to be traded a couple years ago, and he hasn't really played up to standard. There are a lot of guys, especially a guy like Jordan Davis, who you can hope to expect will step up this next season, and get a bigger role. So hopefully Jordan Davis will be that guy. But yeah, it doesn't look like Fletch may be back either. Now, all that said, the Eagles could potentially make the biggest trade of the offseason, according to reports. Could the Eagles have a new king come into town? Derrick Henry's 2023 team odds. It was reported yesterday that he is now on the trading block. Titans seem to be shipping everybody out. And look who's number 2 on the list in terms of where he could play next year. Titans are number 1. Number 2 is the Eagles, plus 400. Should Howie Roseman make the blockbuster trade and go get Derrick Henry in this offense? Well, I have mixed emotions about it. I kind of agree here with Brendan Deeg on Twitter. He says, Hard pass. He's 29 years old, and he's due $10.1 million next season. The Eagles do not need him. There's no question that Derrick Henry is a freak of nature. There's no question that, he's probably one of, if not the best back in the league. But again, these running backs are a dime a dozen. Their tenures are shorter and shorter as the years go on. Their useful life is shorter. And when you look at it, Derrick Henry is getting up there in age. Looks like he's had some of his best monster years. You never know what could happen as he continues to approach that 30-year-old mark. And when you look at the Eagles offense, the way they play, the way they approach, the way Jalen Hurts, runs a lot of reads and uses his legs, and the Eagles seem to always go with a committee. Now, the good thing is that Derrick Henry wouldn't have to be used as much, right? He's more of a power back under center, and the Eagles could get the most out of him, right? Without overburning him, without out using him, early in the season, leading to another injury because he's had a couple before. At the same time, though, would he really be effective? Would he really be worth $10 million? They don't want to pay $10 million to get Miles Sanders. Why would they go trade and then pay for Derrick Henry? And especially with their style of offense, doesn't really make sense to get an elite back like Derrick Henry. Or do they go with a committee, maybe get a shorter, cheaper veteran option and then utilize Kenneth Gainwell if they believe in him, re-sign Boston Scott, go that route rather than, putting all your chips in and trying to get a guy like Derrick Henry. Honestly, I see good and bad for both of it. At the end of the day, my prediction is that they do not do it. I don't think the Eagles ever view running backs like that. I don't think they would invest to try to go get that. I think they're focused on keeping the free agents here that they have, and I just don't see it happening. However, it is interesting that the Eagles have already popped up as one of the favorite destinations. Should they get him? I mean, he's a game changer. He's obviously a game changer. How about the reuniting of him and A.J. Brown? That would be something, right? But I don't know. It just doesn't really fit what I see them trying to build around on the offensive side. They want to throw the ball. They want to put it in Jalen Hurts' hands. They have a lot of weapons on the wideout. So those are my thoughts on Derrick Henry, but just a wild turn of events here over the last hour and a half, and a lot more coming soon. So we'll be breaking it all down here on A to Z Philly. Be sure to hit that like button, comment, subscribe down below. With that being said, I will catch you all on the next one. Peace.